Dr. Francis Boyle, the Harvard professor who literally wrote America's 1989 Biological Weapons Act and was set to be a star witness against Bill Gates and Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla in the ongoing Dutch Crimes Against Humanity trial, has been found dead. Days before, he was scheduled to give a sealed deposition, proving that the mRNA shots were intentionally designed as depopulation weapons. This comes weeks after the Dutch plaintiff's lead lawyer was dragged from the courtroom in handcuffs and disappeared into a government re-education camp. His crime? Questioning the medical advice of Gates and Bourla. They're not rigging the trial anymore, they're terminating it, along with anybody who gets in their way. We can't let this happen. This report contains urgent and vital information for the whole world. Share it widely, before the global elite silence all of us. Just days after Professor Francis Boyle agreed to testify against Bill Gates and Albert Bourla in a Dutch court, a move that would have placed him directly in the crosshairs of the most powerful pharmaceutical and philanthropic empires on Earth, he turned up dead, under circumstances that insiders are already calling highly convenient. Boyle lived in Chicago, a city long whispered about as a playground for global power brokers, a place where inconvenient people tend to vanish and inconvenient stories tend to die fast. In a town like that, if the globalist machine wants you gone, it doesn't take long.
Now, there was a sixth witness, Professor Francis Boyle, who is actually expert on bioweapons, having drafted several bioweapons conventions-related laws in the U.S., and 3 weeks after he agreed to testify on behalf of the plaintiffs that these products and the process was deployment of bioweapons, he suddenly died. And we still don't know the cause of death. And the only thing that we know is he was perfectly healthy prior and was teaching full-time. He was in his mid-70s. And this was a shock to all of us. And this looks very suspicious to me. I can't speculate on what happened, but I would really like to know the cause of death, and we don't know that. So that's where we are right now. This is how serious it is. These people stop at nothing.
The real warning sign came even earlier. The lead attorney in the Dutch case, the one preparing the case alongside Boyle, was SWAT raided, dragged out of his home, and disappeared by the WF-infiltrated Dutch government under manufactured medical terrorism charges. This isn't random. This isn't coincidence. This is the globalist system protecting its evil overlords.
These are very serious charges. If the judge in this case puts them on trial, I'm telling you, the international media will blow up, and we might see another Nuremberg trial take place.
I think maybe to summarize for the audience, because they're sort of falling into this thing, this was a court hearing where Mr. Stasse, a lawyer, lost his colleague, the main driver of this court case, Arno van Kessel, because he was arrested on the 11th of June. He is taken into a highly secured prison in the south of Holland so that his family can't visit him. I understand there's been no contact yet.
When the deep state feels threatened, when the elite sense the walls are closing in, when the wrong people get too close to the truth, the whole house of cards starts to shake. And right now, it's shaking hard. Because when an establishment figure as respected as Dr. Francis Boyle comes forward to blow the whistle and ensure globalist criminals like Gates and Bourla get their just desserts, the globalist machinery cranks into gear. And the result is full-blown WF-style techno-communist dystopia.
As you know, because the work I did calling for and drafting the U.S. implementing legislation for the Biological Weapons Convention, which is known as the Biological Weapons Anti-Terrorism Act of 1989, it was passed unanimously by both houses of the United States Congress and signed into law by President George H. Bush Sr. I was even invited to the signing ceremony at the White House, but it was canceled because Gorbachev was coming to town. And of course, world peace was, I guess, more important than the signing ceremony. In any event, my legislation was specifically designed to deal with the abuse of DNA genetic engineering to research, manufacture, and develop biological weapons.
This wasn't just any witness. This was Gates' personal apocalypse in human form. Bourla couldn't sleep knowing Boyle was coming. Because Boyle didn't bring opinions, he brought receipts, classified files, and the one law he wrote himself that turns the entire COVID shot program into an act of biological warfare.
Since that work, starting in the early 1980s, I have routinely watched the outbreaks of infectious diseases against animals and human beings around the world to see if there was a biological warfare agent at work. And so I did pay attention to what was going on there in Wuhan. And based on all the sources I could find at that time and confirmed since then, this appears to be an extremely dangerous biological warfare agent that leaked out of that Wuhan BSL-4, Biosafety Level 4 facility in Wuhan itself.
And here's the part they never wanted public. What we've uncovered strongly suggests that Boyle wasn't just taken out of the picture, he was silenced, deliberately, methodically, to bury what he was about to reveal. But first, an important word from our sponsor. Today's sponsor is ReliableMedicines.com. The price of medicine in America has skyrocketed in recent years, while the real cause for many illnesses and diseases continues to be suppressed. That's why I've partnered with ReliableMedicines.com. All of their FDA-approved medicines are the cheapest you'll find anywhere. They deliver effective medicines straight to your door, such as ivermectin, zopiclone, hydroxychloroquine, fenbendazole, and painosoma, to name just a few. Listen to this testimony of Joe Tippins, a cancer survivor, thanks to the type of medicines found at ReliableMedicines.com.
2 years ago, Joe Tippins says he was told to go home, call hospice, and say his goodbyes. The doctors were unanimous. He was going to die of small cell lung cancer.
Once that kind of cancer goes that far afield, the odds of survival are less than 1%, and the median life expectancy is 3 months.
Tippins says he got a tip, not from a pharmacist, but a veterinarian. And in his desperation, he turned from people medicine to dog medicine. Specifically, fenbendazole.
My insurance company spent $1.2 million on me with traditional means before I switched to a $5 a week medicine that actually saved me.
Get 15% off by using coupon code RM15 at the checkouts. Please click the link below this video or call 256-664-4170 to take advantage of this fantastic offer. Professor Boyle was their scourge from day one. While the mainstream media pumped fear 24/7, and big tech nuked anybody who even whispered lab leak or gain of function, Boyle was a lone voice with actual legal firepower, screaming from March 2020 that this was a bioweapon rolled out under the cover of a pandemic. They mocked him, they censored him, they called him a crank. Now they've buried him. Because the second he walked into that Dutch courtroom with the evidence, the entire narrative was finished.
They're going to give this emergency approval for these Frankenshots that they say are going to protect us from the COVID-19 that the FDA helped develop. I mean, this is truly evil.
Boyle knew their playbook, not the headlines, the machinery underneath. He'd spent years tracing what he called the depopulation agenda, the labs, the funding pipelines, the public health fronts, the pharma networks, the foundations pulling the strings. He had the documents, the patents, the timelines. The kind of evidence that doesn't just suggest a conspiracy against humanity, it proves one.
500,000 were injected. 11,000 were killed, if not outright murdered. I accuse at the defense of Captain Dr. Hewitt Vaughn that this is a Nuremberg crime on our own troops. And 100,000, 1/5, were disabled. So at a minimum, this is what, and they were prepared to do this. They did this, the FDA did this to our own troops. That's the only way to see it, that I see it now, right? And control and depopulation and debilitation, right? That's the agenda here.
The elite aren't just tightening their grip on power, they're playing a long game that ends with fewer people to control. And the next battlefield in that war is online surveillance. If you think that sounds extreme, understand this. They're already inside your VPN. Industry leader Proton, just so happens to be WEF owned and controlled. The same people writing the digital ID laws to lock you in a cage are asking you to trust them with your most private data. Express Nord CyberGhost PIA, all bought out by Israel's Cape Technologies, staffed by ex-Unit 8200 cyber intelligence officers. If you're paying for any of these VPNs, you're literally paying Mossad to spy on you. But there is one VPN they haven't compromised, because they can't. VP.net, built in 2025 and engineered from day one, so that no government, no agency, not even VP.net itself, can ever see your traffic. Cryptographic proof on every packet, zero logs, zero backdoors, zero possibility of compliance. If they raid the servers tomorrow, they walk away with nothing. Unlike legacy VPNs, who talk a good game in their adverts and then hand over your data as soon as the feds come knocking. Right now, for our audience only, go to vp.net/TPV and secure your privacy for as low as $5.55 a month. Your subscription doesn't just protect you, it bankrolls the last uncompromised privacy network on Earth. Legacy VPNs say trust us not to log, trust us not to monitor you. VP.net gives you proof you're invisible. Don't trust, verify. Because Netanyahu has declared war on American free speech. And his minions are working overtime to hijack and manipulate American devices and destroy the lives of their critics.
Israel is turning every single Samsung phone into a surveillance device. Do you have a Samsung phone? You might want to pay attention. AppCloud pre-installed, impossible to delete. It knows your location, it knows your fingerprint, it knows your IP address, it knows every text, every call, and every search that you make. Did you know that? This isn't just data collection. This is blackmail material. Imagine the power that Israel now has to know who's criticizing them, to know who's organizing against them, to know who's a threat. They will use this against American citizens, against politicians, against businesses.
vp.net/TPV. Do it now, because they've declared war on Americans on the internet. And once those hate speech laws pass, the internet you knew is gone forever. Head over to vp.net/TPV and protect yourself before it's too late.